So, moving on. Now, I'm so fucking excited for this fight. It's not often that I get up at 4 a.m. to watch a fight, but I am fucking getting up to watch this fight. Beterbiev versus Smith. So both boys have been very inactive. Smith only one fight since 2022 on the Usyk Joshua undercard. Beterbiev one fight last year, about 6 or 7 months before that as well. So a lot of inactivity. Beterbiev, 38 years old. In fact, I think he's 39 the week or two after the fight. So definitely pushing on. Callum Smith, we remember the Canelo fight. It was a very lackluster performance, but did Canelo take away his weapon? Since then, Callum has looked very good. So, boys, let's get your thoughts on the fight. Johnny B, coming to you first. Beterbiev Smith, how do you see it going?
I think this is a fight not to be missed. I think it will be a bloodbath. It's going to be an absolute war. Just look, the style, the way Beterbiev fights, he's just calculated. He comes forward. He's looking for a knockout. He believes in his power, and he's just got so many ways he can hit you on the left side, the right side, left hook, right over the top. Like every punch in the book, he has got. And and I say he can walk you down like he walked Yard down, and he got Yard out of there. We can talk about the Yard fight in a bit. He had to come through a few shots that Yard landed in that fight. A lot of people saying Beterbiev, the age is catching up with him now. He's 39, but he's, in the end, got Yard out of there. The Joe Smith Jr. fight was a bit of a different fight because he was on the back foot in that fight. And then he was sort of countering Joe Smith Jr. And then he dropped Joe Smith Jr. a couple of times and got him out of there. So those two fights, recent fights, there's two styles that he's fought. One off the back foot, one off the front foot. And you go and look at Callum Smith. Amazing fighter. He's got, the height, the reach advantage on Beterbiev. Amazing jab. He's great up close. He's got really good body shots. And he knows his way around the ring. He's got a good ring IQ. Now, before this fight, I might look at him and think, do you know what? Like Callum Smith, could see this fight going to points. Like I feel like he's a tough guy, big, strong. And I feel like, with the age of Beterbiev. But then I was thinking about it, right? And I was thinking, see that Canelo fight that Callum Smith had? I feel like in everything that Callum Smith has achieved in his career, right? World champion, the Muhammad Ali trophy and all that, like some of the fighters that he's beat, I think when he puts his head on a pillow at night, I genuinely believe he has restless nights because I think that he thinks that everyone knows, all the hardcore fans, that when it came to the top and you went out there and fought Canelo, you didn't die on your sword, right? You just jabbed around, happy to get to the end. And it was a little bit of a poor performance. And when you look at his younger brother, Liam Smith, or his smaller brother, should I say, he went out there against Canelo, put in a good performance, won a few rounds, made Canelo make a few adjustments in the fight. It was quite a good fight, the Liam Smith fight. And then he got dropped, went out on his sword. Billy Joe Saunders went out on his sword. John Ryder went out on his sword. Then you look at Callum Smith, you're like, So now I'm looking at this fight, I'm thinking to myself, do you know what? Callum Smith is going to go for broke in this fight. Yep. If he doesn't, I don't think he wants all the fans saying, you're that guy. That when it comes to it and there's the heat, you don't go out on your sword and you sort of bottle it and you just do what you can to manoeuvre yourself away from power and pain and get to the 12th round, right?
You're speaking
so
sense,
I think
boy.
he's going to have to go for it in this fight.
You're speaking sense, Johnny.
I've got more to say, but I'll throw it over.
Johnny, you've saved your job today. You was on your final warning, but I'm giving you 2 final warnings now. That was brilliant, that. Well done. Kaya, you're on your last legs, bruv.
I've got to be honest with you, mate. I don't agree with anything John just said.
If I said my name's Johnny B, he'd go, that's bollocks.
When you say die on your sword, what do you mean? What do you mean? What, he's got to go out there and get knocked out? Is that what you mean?
Take a fucking risk, mate. Like what Yard did.
Yeah.
Take a risk. Sometimes you got to get in there, throw off. Let your hands go. Let your right hand go. Take a fucking risk.
His left arm
was
was non-existent in that fight. His bicep fucking swelled up like a watermelon. It just couldn't use his left arm, and that was due to Canelo's brilliance. So,
How about the right arm? How about
you're going to start opening up and fighting Canelo with one hand?
Throw your... Yeah! This is your moment against Canelo. Fucking go, son. Oh, you'll be a lot of good in the corner as a hype man, won't you? Oh, your arm's hurting you. Don't sit down. I'll have a little walk around.
Go out there, use one arm against the best fighter on the planet. Let's see how that fucking works out for you, mate. You end up on the fucking floor, your tongue hanging out your mouth. I don't know about that. Yeah, I don't know. I don't totally agree with it. Did he go out and die on his sword and all that? Yeah, maybe not. But there's different interpretations to that, isn't there? But I think Callum Smith is an excellent fighter. Also, bearing in mind, he had 7 weeks for that camp, right? Canelo deliberately gave him 7 weeks. He's had a full camp for this. This is £175 where he's looked monstrous. There has been a massive inactivity as well. And that's, I think, I don't know if he's been injured, but that's partially to do also with him waiting about for this title shot, however long that took to make. So I think this is a different Callum Smith. He should have moved up ages ago. That was his kind of last throw at the die. He should have moved up really after John Ryder beat him, if I'm being honest with you. But he went along with it, went and got his Canelo money. Good luck to him. But I think this is Callum Smith's. Callum Smith's already had his moment in a boxing ring when he knocked out George Groves, slid on the floor on his knees. All his brothers jumped in, give him the belts. Happy days, right? But this will top it. Because now he's
hold on.
What?
So you want to say all that shit about his arm, but how you went down and talk about George Groves? He couldn't even fucking do a windmill with his left arm 2 months before he caught Callum Smith. You see what I'm saying? Your narrative to fit what you want to say.
Hold on a minute. What's that got to do with anything?
Because you're digging Callum Smith out.
Who's digging Callum Smith out? You're digging Callum Smith out.
No, when I said that Callum Smith should have died on his sword and he should have thrown his hands a bit more against Canelo rather than being too defensive-minded, but yet you're saying against
and look
George
what happens
Groves,
when you do. You end up like George Groves, knocked out on the floor, mate, with one arm. That's what happens.
But, to me, at least he had a go. At least he had a go.
Oh, well, did he have a go?
You want fighters to just get
was he ever going to win? Was George Groves ever going to win that fight with one arm? He should never have taken the fight. Never. He should have maybe, but he couldn't prolong the fight because there was contractual issues and, purses, and that fucking tournament, I think, had been stretched out long enough anyway. So they were looking to finish the fight anyway. So George Groves just went in there, he knew he was going to retire anyway, took his paycheck and left. But in terms of this fight, I think this is Callum Smith's moment. As I say, he's already had a moment in the ring, but I think this will top that moment because he'll become a 2-weight world champion, because I'm picking him to stop Beterbiev within 6 rounds. I think he's going to go off.
I weren't expecting that.
I think it's going to be a shootout, boys.
Body shot.
When I saw the Anthony Yard fight, I saw enough in that fight to know that Beterbiev will slow down. He will. So as long as Callum don't do anything stupid like O'Hara Davis just did, right? Callum Smith has got the power to clean you out of one shot. Look what happened with Lenin Castillo. I know this is Beterbiev, but look what he did to Borderlick, right, as well.
Yeah.
He's powerful. He's a different animal at this weight. And when he catches Beterbiev, and he will, right, and it will be a straight shot from range because he's got the range, right? I don't think it will be something in close like a body shot or anything like that. When he catches him and gets him going backwards, Callum will jump on him, and he's a very good finisher, right, as well. And I feel like he's a lot cleaner in his work than Anthony Yard. Anthony Yard's a bit messy. I think maybe you can put that lack of amateur pedigree down to that. He's learned on the job. But Callum Smith is an excellent technical fighter defensively as well. When he's throwing his shots, the other hand is always protecting the other side of the face. You know what I mean? He's really good in close as well.
Really good at doing that. A bit too good at doing that against Canelo.
Oh, easy now, look. Okay, no. Look.
So what, you're over, because he's not many people mention Callum Smith's right hand, his backhand, and he's finished enough people with that. So you're saying the backhand, yeah?
I think it will be the backhand, straight down the pipe, and I don't think he'll smother his work, and I think it will be just straight shots, and I think the referee will either jump in or he will knock him out cold. Honestly believe it.
Ooh. Interesting. Johnny, did you go Callum Smith then as well?
No, I'm going Beterbiev.
Oh, I was going to say, you didn't give
I'm surprised. Going to the opposite one as me.
I rate Callum Smith. I really do. I think he's a good fighter. He's been a bit inactive in his career, and I think he's wanted some of the fights, hasn't he? In the past, I think he wanted the Gal fight. I think he wanted the George Groves fight when George Groves was more in his prime. Made it weren't coming off the back of a bad injury, so it's not his fault. I think he is a classy fighter. I agree with literally a lot of what Kai's saying, but I just think Beterbiev's that guy, man. Those Dagestanis, they're just built from a different stuff, and I just think that he's got too many ways that he can beat you. I think he can hold a shot, he can take a shot. I've never seen a fighter in all my life that can generate so much power from their guard, throwing a punch from his guard. When you throw a punch, the power comes from the floor, your hip, the way you twist your hip into it. If you're throwing a right, the way you just twist that hip, your shoulder, you come across, same with your left hook, like when you're whipping shots in. It's like he don't even move his hips. He just seems to be able to generate power from his guard and just throw them up. So inside, he's a nightmare. On the outside, do you know what he does as well, Beterbiev? The same thing as Canelo. He will close the distance so fast. 1 minute you think you've controlling the space and you've got him at range. Next minute, Beterbiev's there. It's in front of your face. Fucking thing of horrors. You've got fucking Beterbiev just looking at you right down your grill. And as I say, you can't hold him. There's nothing really to hold of him. I think he's going to go late. And I think that I think he stops Callum Smith, because I think Callum Smith will throw his hands, and I think he's going to be prepared to get knocked out. I don't think he's going to have safety in mind and just be too worried about his power. He's going to get hit. He's going to hit Beterbiev. Then once it goes off, it's just going to go off. And yeah, and then I think Beterbiev beats him. I think he takes him out. I think he knocks him out.
So you think that Callum Smith will die on his sword this time?
100%. I'll be so surprised if he don't. Like, he's going to get, when you say, like, for argument's sake, Callum Smith, Rocky Fielding, because I watched that last night because I knew he was doing this today. When Callum Smith was putting a beat down on Rocky Fielding, he had him in the corner and he was just hitting him there. Rocky Fielding, like, was in Liverpool, like, 2 scouts that. Rocky just started throwing his hands. And it's like.
Caught him with one, though, didn't he? Rocky did.
Yeah, because he's like, fuck this, I'm in front of my own people here. So for me, I've got more respect for Rocky Fielding doing that than like a Frederick Lawson who's just covered up. And it's like trying to see out the round. I just think Callum Smith ain't going to see out shit. When it gets into the trenches, he's going to go for it. If he don't, then that's twice he's done that.
Yep.
Yeah, I see your point. I don't know if there's anything admirable of, if you've got one arm, you're going to get knocked out, just getting knocked out in front of all your family. I don't know if there's anything admirable in that. Maybe I don't know. I'm just maybe singing from a different...
What are you doing here, man? What do you want to see?
I think if you've lost the fight and you can go the distance with the champion and come out of there, with your reputation intact, you got to think about moving forward as well, John, in your career. If you get ironed out, right, some broken jaw or whatever, because you've gone out in your shield,
he weren't getting battered.
Do you think that's going
against Canelo?
Let me ask you this question: do you think that devalues you, or your career going forward? Do you think that means you're going to earn less in your next fight if you get knocked out? Or if you've gone the distance with Canelo, do you think that you can command a bigger fee, maybe?
I'm paying at the elite level, especially, I'm paying good money to watch boxing. It's a fight. Get in the ring, man. Win this fight. Like, go in there and try your best to win this fight. Knock that geezer out. Beat this guy up. It's a fight. Like, don't go in there and just hide behind the jab. You're like 6 rounds, 7 rounds. Like, go in there. Like, I don't know. Especially at the elite level, this is your moment to win that world title, to be that guy, to have that legacy. You're just going to just let it pass you by.
I know what you mean. Man. He was already a world champion, though, at super middleweight. Maybe he'd done what he wanted to do. Maybe he just went for the money, John, and maybe he just wanted to last. You're probably right. There's a lot of elements to the equation. You know what I mean? Maybe if that was his only shot and he'd been waiting around for years, you might have seen a different Callum Smith. You've got to think about all the storyline that builds up to that as well. No,
I agree. Can I just say this one thing as well? Is what I'd say is that as another fighter that hasn't got the skills of Callum Smith, like maybe like a journeyman or whatever, European, I don't know, like another fighter that might not have that in them, then maybe fair enough. But when you're talking about Callum Smith that's got the equaliser that could, knock anyone the fuck out, right? When you're at that level, you've got the skills. It's all there within you. Like, just take a risk and throw down and just fucking have it. And just, to me, you're at that level. You've got that. It's all there. But you just hold that back to just get through the fight.
I don't remember the fight like he ran. Like, you're making it sound like he just fucking ran around the ring. I don't think it was that bad.
No, it weren't a running around the ring. He could have done more. He could have thrown his hands a bit more. It's like talking about like. Yeah, I don't know. Go and watch it again.
Going into this fight, I'm in a space of, do I go with my head? Do I go with my heart? Now, I think there could be a very, very good chance that we'll see a bit of age with Beterbiev here. Not just age, but the fact that he has been so inactive. I know Callum's been inactive as well, but Beterbiev has been inactive in the sense that he's had that jaw injury as well. You can't be sparring when you got a jaw injury, can you? How much work was he doing in that time? He's had a bit of time off there. So ultimately, I don't think we'll see a 100% Beterbiev. I think we'll see a sort of 75, 80% Beterbiev. Callum Smith, he's looked fantastic since he went up to this weight. And as I say, he's got a very good chin, and that left hook counter is going to be the one thing that could win him the fight. I don't think we're going to see the Canelo version of Callum Smith, because I made a video the other day and I said, they know Team Smith ain't thick. They know if they go in there like that and face Beterbiev in the way that he fought Canelo, even at the first few rounds, before his left arm got fucked, even before that, if they let Beterbiev get on top of him and Callum is on the ropes, he's fucked. It's going to be over. He's probably going to get stopped. I can't see in a million years he's going to fight like that. He's going to go in there, and I think he's going to go for broke. And I think you said it a minute ago, Kai. He won't want that hanging over him, that Canelo performance and this Beterbiev performance being the same at the top level. So I think he's going to go in there. I think it's going to be an absolute fucking war. I think he's going to catch him with quite a lot, really, Callum. He may even put him down. I can see that, because I don't think he's going to be 100% Beterbiev. But my heart wants Callum, but I've got to go with my head and say I just think Beterbiev is going to be that little bit too much for him. He's just so hard to knock out, and so strong. And I think, whereas it will be a war for the most part, I think in the last few rounds he may get Callum on them ropes a little bit more, and I think that's going to be the defining factor. So I'm going to go for a decision win for Beterbiev, because I just think he'll have a little bit too much.
Cool.
A little bit too much.
So Johnny B, you got Beterbiev stoppage. Uncle, you got Beterbiev decision, and I've got Callum Smith knockout. Well, one of us are going to look like a fucking cunt, aren't we?
I've only got Beterbiev decision because Callum's clearly got good defence and he's clearly got a decent chin. So I think he can last it. But I think he'll have a war. I think it will be a war, but I think Beterbiev will win the war in the later rounds.
Gosh, violence though, this fight, innit?
Has anyone tested Callum Smith's chin? I mean, I don't remember Ryder really rocking him. I don't remember Groves.
Canelo did a bit.
Him flush.
Canelo did a bit. A few uppercuts.
Yeah. I can't remember it. I don't feel like,
he's got a good chin, man. He's got a good defence, Callum Smith.
I just sat off the top of my head, when I think of the Ryder fight, when I think of the Canelo fight, the Groves fight, none of them were wars. If you look at Beterbiev,
he can have a war, Callum.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, like you're saying about age, he's 39, Callum Smith's 33, right? So sometimes you look into two fighters, you're like, how many rounds have you done? Like, have you, too many wars, too many sparring, too much sparring. But that fight that Beterbiev had with Grostic, the Ukrainian fight, he retired that guy. That guy just beat Adonis Stevenson, right? And that was a fucking war, absolute war. Remember that fight against Marcus Brown? He had the big cut on his head, all the blood coming down, all that.
Bashed the fuck out.
He had
of
to
Marcus
make
Brown.
adjustments in that fight. And the way he finished that Marcus Brown, slippery southpaw, fucking to the body, just ended up targeting the body towards the end, took him out. It felt like a war. We had the big cut on his head, whatever. The yard fight, took a bit of damage in the yard fight. So I feel like he's had more battles than what Callum Smith has had. But
100%.
Sometimes age catches up with you, and I think when you get like the best fighting the best, there's always going to be, I could see Callum Smith catching him a body shot. Yeah, you could see Beterbiev catching him. No one's being surprised, but ultimately you have to make a decision, innit? If gun at my head and I'm betting, I think Beterbiev stops him late. I really do.
Once they get in the ring and you see the first few rounds with Beterbiev, we'll know, because if Beterbiev goes in there and he's not showing any signs of inactivity, age, if you see that, then for me it's just going to end up going one way. I still expect a great fight, but I still expect it to go one way. But if he gets in there and Callum does put it on him and maybe knocks him down in the first few rounds and has a bit of success, then
as the bell rings, right, and they square off against each other, Callum Smith's got a 5-inch reach advantage. 5 inches, quite a lot, isn't it? About 3 or 4 inches taller, 5-inch reach advantage. Fucking easy for me to say.
I mean, look, I can't wait for it, boys. Honestly, it's what a mouth-watering fight to kick off proceedings in 2024. With all the fights we've got coming up, this is just an absolute treat.
And the winner gets
Christmas
Bivol.
Is out of the way.
The winner gets Bivol in Saudi.
Yeah, but then you know what? That's what I'm saying. Like, if Callum Smith wins, if Callum Smith wins, right? Why fuck Bivol because he
lost
fucking
him
knows your racket,
£1,000. Fucking just not going for the kill, man, against Lyndon after. I'm done with him and all his unanimous decision victories, man. He can fuck right off Bivol.
I know.
Mate,
but at least you know what to.
No
what
time
to,
for that
what,
geezer,
you know,
no
what,
more, man.
At least you know what selection to make if you ever fucking put Bivol in there again. But
if Smith loses, I hope they make the yard fight. I'd love that. I feel a bit sorry for Smith because everyone's predicting that Smith from the Canelo fight.
It's a stupid comparison.
It's not a good comparison because he's not going to do that this time. He can't do that this time.
No.
He's at a different weight, first and foremost. He's fighting at a different weight. He's a different man. He's drained at that weight.
So we're all different there, aren't we? Johnny B's got a stoppage. I've got a decision. And Kyle, you've got Callum Smith.